I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have another amazing guest. You might have seen her in Kimberly Akimbo or The Queen of Versailles, and you can currently see her at the Cherry Lane Theater in You Got Older. But I was told she has some opinions on cats, so I'm excited to hear those, and we'll start with that. So welcome, Nina White, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here.
I was excited because I know I've obviously seen you perform in Kimberly Akimbo and Queen of Versailles and a bunch of other stuff, and was really excited because I never know what people's cats' takes are when they've not done it. And so I was really excited that you have strong opinions about it. So let's start there.
Yeah. First of all, it's my great displeasure that I haven't done cats. I don't know where I fit in to cats, honestly, at this moment in my life, but I hope that I can find a place for myself there sometime in my career, because I need to do it. But my cat's opinions are, in the broad scope, I love cats. I think it's great. I just really don't. All of the cats' hate is, to me, so unfounded. People are like, oh, it's not a book musical. Oh, it doesn't make sense. Wah. I think the premise is clear. They have to compete for their life. Okay? I don't really know why either. I don't understand why someone has to go to the Heaviside Layer tonight. Really, I don't know why you have to dance to get there, but who cares is how I feel. I think a lot of cats' hate is forced.
I agree.
Personally. I first saw cats when I was a middle schooler. Maybe I was a high schooler. Saw a national tour of it that came through Detroit, which is where I grew up. And I remember them coming down the aisles, like dancing and crawling down the aisles, which was insane. And that really, I loved it. I love cats. If you don't like cats, maybe you don't like dancing. I don't really know. You know what I mean? I think it is like, obviously it's a dance-centric show. But yeah, I'm just a cats lover. And I'm
appreciating
cats haters.
So I love it. I agree. I've always wanted to have somebody on the show that hates cats, but I've never been able to give somebody, everyone I ask, they're like, I just don't get it. Or like there's that level of it. There's no clear thought out reason. I think the only thing I could argue is it lacks some plot, but I do think if you know and read into it or listen to the lyrics, there is plot.
Yes.
But I'm very much with you. So
Thank you.
I want to go back to middle school. You see it coming through Detroit. Yeah. This is the tour. Yeah. At this point, do you know that you are going to go down this musical theater route, or is this kind of an early phase of that?
I was already really into musical theater by the time I saw Cats. Musical theater was not really like a part of my like earlier childhood. I didn't grow up going to theater. I grew up like going to dance, seeing ballet and stuff, but it wasn't until I like got into doing theater myself that I started seeing theater, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, I was already really into musicals by the time I saw Cats. I knew it was iconic, or like I knew, it's like Cats. Everyone knows Cats, even non-theater people know Cats. But yeah, I was already very into musical theater when I saw it.
Okay. So did you walk out of that theater going, I need to be in this? Or was it kind of like I really enjoyed this. I don't understand why people dislike it. Because it's a formative age when you're seeing it.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, I was like, I would love to be in this. I mean, it felt like I knew it was weird. You know, it's weird. I wasn't.
It's still weird.
It's weird. It's
Yeah.
a weird show. And I knew it was weird at the time too. And I felt that it was a little strange. However, yeah, I was like, I would love to be in this. I think honestly, because growing up, I really was a dancer, like first and foremost. And so also I was like, I mean, yeah, I would love the dancing is unbelievable. So I was like, yeah, I totally would love to be in this.
Yeah.
And dance for my life as a cat.
Did you gravitate towards any characters when you first saw it? Because like I know when I first saw it, I could barely. Well, the names are so weird. I was like, what am I watching? But then there was definitely a few that stood out to me as a non-dancer. As like, I can't do this. I was really impressed by this.
Sure, I mean, I loved Victoria, of course.
That's the ballet and the
yes.
Yeah.
And she opens. I remember she had this like the develope in second, which my legs, they're never going high like that. So I remember being like, okay, I would really have to work to do that track, but maybe I could do it because I was like, I'm short. This looks like the short person track, the young looking person track. But yeah, I was really struck by her, and she's in that all white costume. Oh my God. I was like, it's stunning. Obviously that's who I want to be. That was made the biggest impression on me. Obviously Grizabella also, but Grizabella doesn't dance, which kind of did bother me at the time. Like I was less interested at the time because she didn't dance. Victoria was like my number one.
Yeah.
And then I always really liked Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer from the beginning.
Yep.
Love a little pair situation. Like they're doing acrobatics. That was really thrilling. I feel like those are the two acts that I really liked the first time I saw it.
Well, the good news for you is that Grizabella in a lot of situations dances now because they put Grizabella in the opening number and non-Grizabella full. It's another name or Baby Grizz or something, but the international tour Grizabella dances the opening number, and there's it's not just the 15-minute princess track that it is or has been in the past.
That's wait, I didn't realize that. Okay, that kind of feels wrong.
In what way?
Because I feel like the point is that Grizabella doesn't dance in a way. I mean, that's not the point, but like she's an old diva. Like, don't make her dance.
Well, it's not Grizabella. It's an ensemble character
track.
who is, because it's like there's a couple where they overlap. Like McCavity's also Admetus, and Bustopher Jones is also Gus, and actually the Bustopher Jones Gus track also usually dances the opening number. And so they're throwing a few people in different names because every cat has three names, you know, they have have that.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So I guess as I grow older, I could be Grizabella. I could dance and I could sing.
Yeah.
And I would have a good time. I would be happy.
You can have a Grizabella future. They're casting younger too. That's actually a big part of why I don't think she should be the Jellicle choice. It's a lot of the Grizabellas on tour and are young or not.
Yes,
you know, they're not.
And why? Yeah. I don't like it. I'm anti. I feel that way too.
Yeah. Well, when you go non-equity or some other things, you're gonna have that. But it's part of what makes to me the argument very different, which we'll get to the argument at the very end.
Okay.
But okay, so you watched it.
Yeah.
Who do you want to, like, if you were going to try to be cast today, what would be your dream cat?
I think that I would want to be Mungo Jerry. I really do.
Mungo Jerry. Okay.
I think that like I don't know, the duo number really speaks to me. And you don't have to hold down the number all by yourself. You have a buddy.
Yeah.
To keep the energy high, to delight with your partnering skills. I've always really wanted to do that like weird cartwheel situation. I feel like it would be like having a duo number is ideal to me.
Yeah.
And that's where I'd want to be.
There's a lot of, I think like now that I've learned most of the characters and know the show arguably too well for someone who's not capable of doing any of it, there's a lot of freedom in the show compared to like, you're blocked and you have your dance numbers and you have the things you need to do. but there are a lot of moments where you can kind of have some interpretation. And I feel like Mungo Jerry Rumpleteazer and the Rum Tum Tugger have to be the most fun because they are intentionally supposed to be mischievous and kind of like cause a little bit of a ruckus. That you can kind of like, when you're in the crowd, you can like grab someone's stuff and you can kind of like really play around in that role because that's expected of you. So I feel like that's got to be the most fun track to do.
Yes, I totally agree. One of my good friends from college did the Cats tour right after we graduated in 2020. And he was telling me about how, like, who was he?
Who was your friend?
Devin McCleskey.
Okay. I've not had Devin on.
You gotta have Devin on.
I've got to have Devin on
I
now.
shouldn't tell any of his stories because you should just interview him. But he really tickled me when he talked about like what it was like when because like at least in the staging of his tour, he was on stage the whole time. He's like, but really you just have to you get up, you do your number. Then everyone was such good friends. Like you were sitting there like hanging out with your friends. And then you get up and do your number. And I do feel like if you're playing a more mischievous track, also the way that you could interact with your fellow cast members when it wasn't your number, you have a little bit more freedom. And I really love to laugh on stage. It's probably a bad thing about me. I break very easily. I giggle very easily on stage. So I think, one of the mischievous tracks would be right for me. Also from an employment perspective, I would enjoy my time on the job.
You could get away with that too. You know, you'd be able to, it would be like expected.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a level of Cats. I've always, as someone who grew up playing sports, I feel like a lot of theater and just these jobs and especially tours are like being on a team and you get really close to your cast. But I feel like in Cats, it's even further because it's like, not only do you get to know them and spend time with them and hang out with them, it's like, then you're going to crawl around on stage on top of them and roll around.
Yes.
Like you are so close to each other in this show.
Yes. I need to experience that high.
Yeah. There are so many productions happening right now that there is a Cats future for you. But
thank you. Before
we shift away from Cats, did you get to see the Jellicle Ball by chance?
Yes, I did.
Okay. For all the Cats haters that the ones that I met that saw it, this helped. So did you convert anybody with this show?
I did. I have a couple of friends who I've known since childhood who now also live in New York, and none of them were Cats haters, but none of them were Cats lovers at all. But I had seen it. I went with my boyfriend who's also a Cats lover. That's a really good, important trait in a partner, honestly. And it was so unbelievable. I was like, you guys, you have to go. And also the pack was doing those like amazing, I think they had like a really great like 30 under 30 deal or something. Shout out to them. Thank you guys. And all of them loved it. And I heard from a lot of people, I feel like, oh my gosh, but then like when I saw this interpretation of Cats, the plot made sense.
Yeah.
Which I think was so interesting because really the plot, they didn't change anything about the plot of Cats. But I do think that it's a brilliant revival. I cannot wait to see it again. I loved it. But I do think like putting that competition in this other context.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, right, okay. But I'm like, you guys, it's just normal Cats, plot-wise.
That was for sure. Yeah. That was mine. I mean, I went to the second preview and then I went multiple times and have obviously done a lot of stuff with them. And I, as someone who knows the story and plot so well, I was like, this makes it a lot even clearer by adding the competition element. You also eliminated the two biggest criticisms of Cats, which I don't think are fair, but like the ones you hear most, which is they're dressed as cats and it's a weird plot. And you took both those things away by making it a much more easy to digest and I don't want to say normal plot, but because it's neither are like right or wrong, but there was more of a story, a linear line through it that you got that you don't necessarily get as clearly in, the Cats production.
Right.
And then by not having them in cats costumes, you got rid of that criticism of like, oh, it's a little strange.
Yes.
But I'm so glad it's by the time this comes out, it'll be on Broadway and will be close to opening, if not. But I'm hoping it converts more Cats haters into
Me too.
into Jellicles.
It must. It's so good. Like, it's so good. It's amazing. I hope it runs forever.
Yeah.
Truly.
Would you, in that production, what cat do you want to be?
I would want to be Skimbleshanks.
Skimbleshanks. Yeah.
The Skimbleshanks wig is unbelievable. It's stuck with me. I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
That long, beautiful wig. I want to wear that wig. But I would have to really work at, I like feel like I can't even dance with my hair down. That grows out of my head. Like I really am like, I do not have a skill. My hair needs to be up out of my face. So I think I would really struggle. I would really have to work at wielding the wig, but that's absolutely who I would want to be. That was, I think, my favorite number of the whole revival.
Yeah.
Which I honestly, I feel like Skimbleshanks never stuck out to me prior. I like kind of forgot about Skimbleshanks.
Oh,
even being
that's
in
a hot take.
I did. I was like, I was like, oh right, the railway cat.
Mm-hmm.
But I was obsessed.
Yeah.
And that's what I would want to play. I don't know how good I would be, but that's what I would want to take on.
It's a fun track. So Emma Sophia is doing it right now, and she's so good at it. She's she's actually the only person that's been on this podcast twice.
Oh my God.
And the thing that's really fun about that track is you also do Cassandra in the first act, and it's a totally different personality and type of thing. And they have a lot of freedom to go, at least in the pack. They got to kind of really roam around the stage, and Skimbleshanks is very confident and like owning the stage, and Cassandra's a little all over the place and running around and frantic.
Yes.
And I was like, it's got to be really fun to have two halves just being so totally opposite and getting to play that every night.
Yes. Oh, dream.
Okay. We'll call the casting people for next.
Yeah, please do. Need to get my heels on.
Yeah.
Need to get back to class, back to the bar.
Yeah.
Need to hit a split.
Yeah.
And start dancing with my hair down, and then I'll be ready.
Then you're
for
ready.
my appointment.
You're ready. You'll be ready. You'll be ready.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died. Let's pivot to you got older.
Okay.
And, you're at the Cherry Lane Theater, and you're running for, a couple months in the show. And I have not had a chance to see it, but I read a ton about it, and it sounds like such a fascinating story and plot and a really cool, there's only a couple of you in this show kind of really leading it. So for someone who hasn't seen it, tell a little bit about what to expect and what you kind of loved about it. Yeah.
So the show is about this woman who's in her early 30s, who her life is kind of falling apart. Her boyfriend breaks up with her. She works at the same place as her boyfriend. So she quits her job. So she's jobless, she's boyfriendless, she's very unbored, and her dad is going through cancer treatment, and she moves home to live with her dad while he's going through his treatment. And it's about family. Clare Barron, I feel like, sums it up very well. One time she said that the play was about being present, and how that's just it's a very difficult task, and that you always are like, I want to spend more time with my family, or I want to spend more time doing this. There are scenes in the show where they're outside. It takes place in Washington State, and they're talking about, oh, it's such a beautiful day, but should we go inside? I don't know. It's about wanting to be present, but it feels impossible. Wanting to be with your family, but then you're the worst version of yourself with your family. Wanting to be close to your parent, but there's always something that maybe you feel like you can't quite talk about with them. So it's a very interesting little play about all of those things. And I've had a great time doing it so far.
Yeah. When I was reading about it, it felt like one of those, like I was really drawn to like, there's a lot of relatable moments that you can pull in just even from the storyline. And then obviously having, your cast is just like a compelling of like, wow, I can't wait to see how you all portray this on stage. And in a very cool, like redone theater, right? Like, cause A24 recently kind of took over and have really brought this kind of really cool off-Broadway experience.
Yeah, it's very cute in there. I highly recommend a visit.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so interesting. The play is, I feel like, very, very universal, very universally relatable, which I find so interesting because Clare, the playwright, Clare Barron, was a part of the rehearsal process, which I didn't anticipate because it's not new. It was premiered in New York in 2014. And Annie Kaufman, who directed this production, also directed the original production. And so I didn't know that Clare was going to be around, but she was. She was there the whole time. And this play is like, it's incredibly personal. It really is, save for a couple of details and a couple of like kind of plot device things. It's really like Claire's life. Like literally, she's like, my boyfriend broke up with me and I was working for my boyfriend. So I lost my job and my dad was going through cancer treatment. So I moved home to take care of him. Also because I didn't have anywhere to live because I was living with my boyfriend. And she's like, I have 3 siblings. There's 3 siblings in this show. And the kind of cancer that the dad has in the play, it's the kind of cancer that Claire's dad has. It's just in a slightly different part of his neck. It's a head and neck cancer. And so interesting to me that like she was writing the play also while this was happening. Like she started writing it while she was living at home with her dad. She was like 27. And this was all happening. And it's so beautiful to me that out of this like incredibly specific personal event that she just kind of puts on stage, like that literally happened to her, everyone can relate to it. It's not, she wasn't trying to make something that was widely relatable. She made something as kind of personal as you possibly could, but everyone knows what that feels like, the things that the characters are going through. You're like, oh yeah, of course. I know that, It's very interesting to me.
I think that's such a cool part of art and just like in general is this kind of, there's a lot of universal truths. And, there's plenty of things where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure I ever see myself in that, but I'm like, no, but there's parts of it that are relatable. And I've actually had that kind of debate with people with cats where I'm like, I think part of what keeps cats going is that there's probably one cat that you relate to and one cat that's like, that's my best friend or that's my sibling or like, because there's so many personalities on stage that you can pull that through. And I love that in a very personal storytelling of a play, there's still those moments. And so I'd love to ask, like, is there a moment, without giving spoilers, like, is there a moment that either you relate to or that you are like, I really want everyone that experiences this is like, this is such a cool part for the audience to experience?
Ooh. I mean, I play the youngest child in the family, and I'm one of 6 kids. I'm from a very big family. This is a family of 4 kids, and the scene, I'm kind of in just like this one long scene in the middle of the play with all of the siblings and with our dad. And I feel like the way that Clare has written the scene is really remarkable. I think, not to sound like a hater, but there's a lot of writing about families, like specifically, I think adult siblings talking with one another, that to me often feels like so inauthentic. I'm like, when have you ever heard families talk to each other like this? What is this? Like it feels like too sentimental or it feels too unsentimental. I don't know. And I feel like Claire, I mean, being an adult with many adult siblings, and like your sibling relationships are those are the people that you probably will know the longest in your life out of literally anyone on earth. And I think it's a very unique relationship that we have in our lives. And I feel like my life is very, very dominated by the fact that I am from a large family. I feel like my sibling relationships they're very important to me. All of them they're very different. There's good things about them and bad things about them. And I feel like they've really shaped who I am as a person and continue to. And I feel like Claire has written like really, really real siblings in a way that I find remarkable. And I've heard from a lot of people who have seen the show that they're like, it really feels like a real family. I was so moved by that. So that's a part of the show that I guess I really relate to, or I don't know, I find delightful, I guess, in the craft of her crafting the scene. I find it so impressive. And I kind of think Peter Friedman, who plays the dad, is so unbelievable. I think, like, come see Peter.
Yeah.
He's so amazing. And his scene work with Alia, who's also incredible, is really moving and really,
That's awesome.
really good.
I definitely hear you on that, where I've seen a lot of plays where it's like, that feels exaggerated in the family conversations.
Yes.
I'm like, I would never say that to my sister, or like,
Right.
I don't think, maybe that's like an extreme, maybe once, but you're also viewing that moment. But I do love to hear that. My last You Got Older question, and then we'll go back to, well, this is kind of also going back to Cats, but this is obviously a Cats skewed listening base.
Yes.
What would be your sales pitch to a Jellicle Cats fan on why they should see You Got Older?
Ooh, okay. If you're a fan of Cats, you should see You Got Older, because at its core, Cats is dealing with mortality. Cats is dealing with, okay, I gotta lock in my pitch. It's dealing with mortality. Okay, who's going to go to the Heaviside layer? Who's going to die tonight? You Got Older is also about mortality. It's also about death. And for a bonus, you can watch all the siblings and you can decide who would be what cat.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's a large family, which is what the Cats are, with
true.
Older leader who's struggling.
Yes.
Or an older cat that's struggling, an older dad that's struggling. That's, it's almost a little Grizabella there.
Yes.
Kind of really, yeah. Then they need someone to take care.
They do.
So I think there's, I did build, I have not shared it broadly, but I do have a tool that explains to me any show in Cats that I built. Because I don't know theater that well. Like I know as I've done this show, I've learned a lot more. But as I was like, there's a lot of, especially plays, like I know musicals more than plays.
Sure.
I'll be like, what is this about? And I've had a few experiences where I've walked into a play unknowing that it's heavy and not expecting it to be heavy.
Yeah.
And so now I have a tool that I just say, tell me this show in Cats.
In Cats
and
terms.
It'll give me the show in
That's amazing.
Cats. Yeah. So.
Wait, I'm so curious about, so your love for Cats it's like particular, like like would you say, like I'm so curious about your particular love for Cats, especially if you're like, I'm not actually, I mean, like musicals, but you're not like all theater, I know, but I'm very curious. I'm like, I'm gonna interview you.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer the questions.
How you came
to
this love of Cats. I want to know all about it.
Questions. I moved to New York for work, and I grew up, like, my mom's a music teacher, so I grew up going to stuff. But I grew up in Indiana, so like you, I probably got, in Detroit, we get, 5 shows? We get a handful of things that come through a year, and I'd go to a few of them.
Okay.
But I didn't go to all of them, and I was never. I can't dance. I can't sing. I've played one thing in my entire life, and I had no lines.
Okay.
Before elementary school, it was like preschool. I played one character, and I sat on the stage, and that was it. They painted a beard on my face, and I stood there, and I did not do anything the whole time.
Nice.
So I don't have a history of this. And I moved to New York, and I lived in the theater district in temporary housing for a month. And I just said, it's a random Tuesday or a random Wednesday. Like, I'm going to go see stuff because I'm here. And I loved it. So I saw a lot of theater, but I'd not seen any of the main things. I like the classics. I had not seen Phantom and Les Mis, and Cats had just revived. So the 2016 revival is when I moved, and I went and I walked out just mesmerized, kind of like, this is, because I had great seats, and I was like, this is, as a former like athlete, I'm like, these are athletes. Like, I can't believe that they've been dancing on stage with no break for as long as they have, and like the physically demanding ability to crawl around stage and do what they were doing. Totally. So I was kind of floored by that, but I also walked out as someone who loves sitcoms and loves like storytelling and did a lot of humor writing before I moved. It was like, what did I watch? Like, how did this come to life? What is this story? And so I kind of left it alone for a little bit, but it like always sat in the back of my mind of like, this was a little weird, but it was also a little interesting. And there's a lot there. And then when the 2019 movie came out, that trailer came out, I did a little deep dive, and I made the joke that I was like, I didn't think Grizabella was the right choice. And then it kind of snowballed. Like, I got asked to make it into a podcast, and then I started interviewing people about it, started arguing with cast members about it. And then now it's like, as I learned more, I was like kind of fascinated by the strength of the story and the lack of the story. Yeah. Because, this weekend, I'm going to be going to a very small regional production, and they're not going to tell them the like depths of the detail, character backstory that they might need to know. They're going to tell them enough, and then they'll interpret the rest, because they're going to do 4 weekends of shows. Like, they're not like, you don't need that level of depth as the tour or the international tour does. Yeah. But there's not an answer to most of this stuff. And I love the fact that like you can play Mungo, Jerry, and Rumpelteazer as brother, sister, dating, best friends. And that doesn't, like, I like that freedom. And it gives a lot of opportunity for storytelling. And so that is where my love from it came. And it's fun when I talk to like super fans, because they'll get like really into like, well, I love Jillian Lynn's choreography. And I'm like, I couldn't tell you the difference between hers and Andy Blankenbuehler's if you showed me them side by side. Sure. And in before 2016, I couldn't have told you who either of those two people were, probably. And so that is what I think is really cool, is that this fandom has a fandom of artists that draw really incredible stuff. It has cosplayers who dress up as cats and come to all kinds of events. It's got the fans that love the dance. It's got the performers. And then it's been around for so long that so many people have strong opinions on it, and it's kind of fun to argue with people on it. So that's where my love comes from. Oh, okay. Thank you for sharing. Wow, it really brings me joy that Cats made this impression on you at like, of all shows. Yeah. It makes me really thrilled. It makes me think, maybe I'd be curious about how you feel about this, but I also think part of my enduring love for Cats, and maybe the revival is proving this wrong, is that I feel like Cats would never be made today. Totally. It's such an interesting thing of like the way the market for theater is and change. Like, I'm not sure it would, but it also kind of like set the tone, as I've learned the history. Like, it was so groundbreaking back then. And it started a lot of other things that happened that probably would have never become super successful or come to life if it didn't have the success it had. And I think that is where like it's off of just poems. Yeah. It's, there's not a lot of text. There's no spoken word. Like, it's a pretty interesting that like even then it happened. But I also think part of what works is that back then there's no social media and no, like, it's very word of mouth, and it's a very word of mouth friendly show, because it's like, I don't even know what I saw. Right. Like, right. That's so true. Go see it, because it's weird. Because it's really weird. Exactly. Yeah. Whatever opinion you have about it, people have opinions about it. Yeah. Either or. Yeah. Right. I feel like people aren't very neutral on Cats. So you're right that it probably
it probably was like such a strong word of mouth show on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. I never thought about that before, but that totally makes sense.
There's been a couple since. Like I saw Starlight for the first time in London last year, 2 years ago, like recently.
Mm-hmm.
Another one where I'm like, a bunch of trains that are also potentially like doing it on the side, like this is, and then I didn't know it's like a child's dream to star. I'm like, this is another just bizarre, weird, but so fun. Like I had a blast.
I've never seen it and I need to see it because that's another one I'm like, what?
It's so fun though. It's honestly it's interesting because it holds up really well. And like a lot of the arguments are kind of still relevant of like coal versus electric and in the storytelling. So it was, and then I grew up playing hockey. So to me, having a bunch of people on roller skates and like skating around was like, maybe this is the only one I could do, like,
right.
This is the only one like in my future. If I don't have to sing, I could skate around. I could do that.
Okay. They need to transfer that. I've heard that revival on the West End is so good.
It's so fun, but it's also at Wembley. Like it's at it's not like, I thought it was, I stayed in the West End. I'm like, we'll be there. And it's like, no, it's a 30-minute train ride out there. But it's such a cool venue that it was worth going.
That's so cool.
I went when AC/DC was performing at Wembley, and I went with a friend who was not prepared, like didn't know Starlight either, but is a very big theater fan. And we're sitting on the train. There's three of us there. And I'm like, this doesn't look like a Starlight audience around here, And then I'm like, it's AC/DC, and it's like we're the only three getting off. I mean, there was a filled theater, but it's, this whole train is going to AC/DC, and we're going to peel off to Starlight Express.
Oh my gosh!
It was great.
The only thing from Starlight Express I've seen like a video of Jane Krakowski doing doing some number from it, or like a trio. I don't know. I've seen Jane Krakowski in it on YouTube. That's all.
But
I gotta take a look because I guess it is so cat. It seems like very Cats adjacent structurally.
Yeah. I want to see it. There's a big Cats, and a lot of the Andrew Lloyd Webber stuff does really well in Germany and Vienna, and I want to see any of them in German just because I think it'd be like Cats in German. I could still follow.
Totally.
And so I think it'd be really fun to do that. So that's on my bucket list. But
that's a really good idea.
I need to figure that out. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died. Let's do some rapid fire to round us out here. This is all going to be Cats related. Okay. So you answered who you think you could or would want to play, but if I removed all barriers, just any cat, it doesn't matter age, gender, anything, just that you could go on one night for one cat. Who do you want to play?
Victoria.
Do the lift, do the leg part. Yes. Yeah. Do your ballet. I love it.
Do my ballet. It feels so beautiful and stunning.
Who are your favorite and least favorite cats from a character perspective? Like which one bugs you and which one do you like, I love this one?
Who bugs me? Kind of Mr. Mistopheles.
Okay.
I don't really like his vibe. I find him, I don't know, but I don't love a tuxedo cat. Like a live cat. A tuxedo cat doesn't call to me personally, even, in the literal world. I don't know. I don't know. Mr. Mistopheles feels like a try hard to me. I just don't. And the Mr. Mistopheles choreography I also don't really like. He's doing all those jumps in second. It's really dramatic. And the song, it feels like it goes on forever and it's slow. So Mr. Mistopheles cut to me, and it gets stuck in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
favorite?
Yeah. My favorite. Oh, I mean, I don't know. I'm still thinking about Skimbleshanks in the most recent revival. That's maybe recency bias, but really.
That's okay. My answer changes based on recency bias every time anytime you ask me this question, I'm like, yeah, it's probably this. And I'm like, no, it's actually this today. So yeah. That's, I think, what's cool about the show. Favorite song in the show?
The opening number. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I'm going to listen to it after this.
Yeah. And then I asked one fun one. So if you could stick any cat in the family and you got older, who are you putting in the family?
I'm putting Jenny Anydots in the family.
Oh, yeah.
My character's name is Jenny. And she does
Okay.
feel very Jenny Anydots adjacent.
Oh,
So
I
maybe
love
she would
it.
have a twin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Jenny Anydots would fit.
And then I've argued at length that I don't think Grizabella's the right Jellicle choice. So I'm asking for you, Nina, who's your Jellicle choice and why?
I believe that Grizabella is the right Jellicle choice.
Okay. Give me the rationale.
I think she's an old diva. Let her rest. That's how I feel. I think that based on what we've been presented as an audience, I feel like, yeah,
Okay.
Grizabella does seem like a good choice.
Let me counter you because
Yeah.
I hope you have a Grizabella performance in your future.
Thank
and
you.
when that happens, I want you to be thinking about this when you're
Yes.
going on that tire.
I'm ready.
I think that you, as Grizabella, deserve to be reaccepted and have your redemption story so much. But I don't want you to go right now because you just got your family to reaccept you. And so I want you to go next year. And I don't love the idea of this entire redemption arc and this family just being like, we're finally bringing you back in, the thing you've wanted for so long. And then it's like, by the way, now we're going to kill you. So like, I want you to have next year. So I want to send somebody else tonight so that you can spend a year with your family and then you go next year when you've had that, that reunion.
But Grizabella to me feels like I don't even know. In a way, though, to me, going to the Heaviside layer, that's the ultimate exaltation. Like, is it really better to wait a year? Like, the euphoria of being chosen and sent to the Heaviside layer, like, to me, it outweighs, like, whatever this mortal acceptance could be that she could have, That's kind of how I feel about that. But that is a good point. I have not previously considered that.
Well, that's what this whole show's about. I'm asking questions nobody else has ever asked.
Right.
I will say, you told me 15 minutes ago, that you got older takeaway is to be present. And so I want Grizabella to be present and live that moment with her family and not focus on her future.
I hear that. But she sings such a great number. You got to send her.
I mean, yeah. Well, then now it's if you're making a singing competition, does she win?
I think that she does but it's not necessarily because her singing, her ability is greater than the next person's. I believe that it's like the structure that's been created for her, the number that's been given,
Yeah.
by Andrew Lloyd Webber, but let's say by God in this, the number that pours out of her is structured such that it's going to get a rise out of us. We're going to want to send her. But I don't know that it's true because everyone else is really busting their ass out there in just a different kind of way than her. So I think it's like, I think she deserves to go. Do I think that she's like in absolute sense the best choice? I don't know. But do I think that she's the right choice on that night? I do.
I saw this. I can tell you the genesis of this joke was I saw Leona Lewis in 2016. Okay. And I walked out thinking X Factor because I was like, oh, singing competition and they pick one to win. And so if you look at it from that angle only, with no other context and nothing else of the storyline, she has a compelling package. She would have a good little pre-song story about her hardship and everything. But so would multiple other cats if you really brought it out. And like she's put in the primetime spot, last one before America votes or Britain votes or whoever votes. But the most successful X Factor people are Fifth Harmony, One Direction, and all the groups that they created. So I'm sending Tugger and Mistopheles together as a boy band.
Wow. You know what? They can have each other. I mean, I think that would be a powerful package. I really do.
Yeah. That's actually how this entire thing started. Is
Interesting.
I walked out with that thought. and
That's
that joke.
very interesting.
And I was trying to figure out what boy band or girl group I could create from the cats.
I mean, that's a really strong one.
That's it.
I have like a runner up. Like when I watch Cats, the person that impacts me the most, that I'm like, aw, maybe send them. But he is a pitiful creature, is Gus the theater cat.
Yeah.
That it hurts you. To me. It hurts to hear him sing, to hear him speak and dance, or not really dance. And I want to I pity him and I love him. And I feel really bad that he doesn't get chosen. I feel like it's like, just let him, you know what I mean? But Grizabella shows up with this drama. So like she takes it. But next year, I feel like it's got to be Gus. Like we got to stop. That's how I feel.
In the voting, I do keep track. It is Grizabella at the top. She does have less than half the votes. And then it's Gus. And then there's a mixture of other people. Obviously, Mistopheles and the Jellicle Ball got a lot of votes because of Silk's performance. And there's a few people that just voted for the character they played, I think, because they're like, I deserved it. A few other random reasons. But like, it's pretty much a 2-cat race there. So I think I hope you think about this for a lot longer. That's my only goal.
I will.
For this show, I want people to just ask this question because nobody did before.
Yeah. I've never seen the movie that they made.
The 2019 movie?
Yeah. And I was thinking, I was like, well, ideally, I was like, I should watch the movie before I do the podcast. And I didn't. But now I'm like, it's on my mind.
I would watch the 1998 movie, which is it's not a pro shot. I think a lot of people think it's a pro shot because it feels like it, but it was actually a movie.
Okay.
That is much more traditional Cats. The 2019 movie made some choices. I think there's a lot. It gets a lot more hate than it deserves. I will say that.
Yeah, there's an uproar. That's why I'm also like shocked that I kept being like, I have to see it.
It was on Netflix for a while, but I think they took it down. So I don't know where, if you can find it. It's not as bad as a watch as people would make you think.
Okay.
But they had such talented dancers, and it's cut and shot in a way that you don't get to see them as much as you probably I would like to.
Sure.
That's my biggest criticism of it.
Sure.
But it's still, it's still, if you're a Cats fan, I think you'll enjoy it, but it'll probably bug you because it's like it just fueled more hate that it didn't need to fuel.
Right. That makes sense. I'm really fascinated that Taylor Swift was like, this is a job I'm going to take.
Yeah.
Maybe she loves cats. You got to have her on.
She loves, I mean, if you can get her, she's done one podcast in her life and she's marrying the guy that she said yes to. So I would love to have her on, but I have not reached Travis Kelce level to get her on. But yeah, I am fascinated by the decision making. I know she loves cats like the animal, and she got to write a song for it. You get to work with Andrew Lloyd Webber. Like, that's got to be a very cool experience for her.
Absolutely.
But she also never sang it on her entire Eras tour as the secret song, and I kept waiting for that to happen because I was like, you could do that. You could either sing The Cavity or I think it's the song's Beautiful Ghost, whatever the one she wrote.
Yeah.
And she never did it. But she clearly doesn't hate it because she acknowledged, like, I did have someone on the show who dressed up in full cat costume and like went kind of viral because he got her attention being so close to the stage. And
oh my God.
She kind of like did a little cat roar at him. And like, so she's not super anti this. And everyone I've talked to who's done the movie was like, it was a pretty cool experience. Like, it's still got a lot of, like, the music's great, the dancing's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting that what it just added to the lore of Cats. That's really all it didn't need.
Absolutely.
You didn't need to add more lore. There's plenty there, and this movie just added more.
Right. Huh.
But yeah, if you have Taylor's number, I'm
gonna
free.
Find it in my phone, and I'm gonna send it to
I'm
you.
free anytime she wants to make that happen.
Perfect.
Well, this has been so fun. How can people stay in touch with you? And then we'll also link how to see You Got Older and get tickets. I think you end in April?
Yes.
April? Yeah.
Yes.
So go see that before the closes.
Yeah. Come see us down at the Cherry Lane. If you want to keep up with me, I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is I am Nina White, at I'm Nina White. And come see You Got Older. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was so much fun. And I'm glad I got to hear a little bit more about it. We'll be making my way to the Cherryland Theater, and definitely we'll get you. You got to get to the Jellicle Ball, and you got to. We'll keep you watch the 2019 movie, and one day you're gonna have this like it is Gus. It's not Grizabella, and then
I know it, and I'm really close to that day.
Yes,
I am, but
I'll send all casting people I know. Hey, I've got a Grizabella for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, and thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown podcast feed. Follow along. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast. Follow social media at The Wrong Cat Died, or check out our website, thewrongcatdied.com.